going on, everybody? Emil here from Bullet Motorsports, and today we have another JDM Classics, and you guys know those are my favorites. It's a 1993 Mazda RX7. It's finished in brilliant black with black interior. It's got 52,000 miles on the chassis, and it's got break-in miles on a freshly rebuilt 13B rotary, Mazda's signature rotary engine. It also has a long list of aftermarket parts from wheels to suspension to everything that supports that full rebuild. If this is something you want to put in your garage, click the link below for a full gallery, including underside shots. And as always, like and subscribe so we can keep putting my face on the screen. Let's get started. Getting started with the exterior, I'd easily give this an 8, almost a 9 out of 10. The vehicle is about 32 years old, which is a little bit younger than me, and it's showing a lot better than my body does. Body lines, panels, and gaps are exactly where they're supposed to be. If you get down and you look down the line, straight as an arrow, exactly what you want something of this caliber to be. This is the condition you want to see with something like this, that they're so rare. You don't see these every day. You're not going to come across another one throughout your day going to Publix, you know? So you want this to be in the most mint condition possible. It is wearing a set of aftermarket 18 5-zig and F-Noir-C wheels. I don't know if that's how you say it, but I put 5-zig on the screen, and you guys can go ahead and interpret that how you want. All the window moldings, glass, everything shows wonderfully. And now, I'll step out of frame like I always do so you can get a good, nice, uninterrupted look at this vehicle. If you told me that this was a vehicle of the current era, or maybe just like the recent previous generation of cars, I'd believe you, because this vehicle was so ahead of its time when it came out in 1992, whenever it was the first iteration of this specific chassis, the FD chassis, as it's so popularly known. You could totally convince me this was made in a design house in Pininfarina, Italy somewhere, and I'd totally buy it. But I'll get back into frame so you can see my wonderful face, and then now we can go inside and look at the interior. Sitting inside, you're immediately greeted with this very driver-centric cockpit. And in the mid-90s, that was the thing. That's what the Japanese cars did. They were very driver-centric. The mid-90s Supra, the one that everyone raves about, 94 and on, they had that super, like, towards the driver. It's like a fighter cockpit almost, and it was awesome. You have brand new gauges that have been completely refurbished. You have an AEM boost gauge here, fail-safe installed. You have a wonderful 2000 Mazda RX7 steering wheel. You got an aftermarket Sony touchscreen radio with Rockford Fosgate speakers in the doors and tweeters up top. The headliner's in great condition. All the lights work and have been replaced with LED variants. There's no back seats back here. You get compartments which are in wonderful condition. All the plastics are in great condition. Seat centers are great. Someone did obviously sit here, but it doesn't look like what 32 years worth of wear should be on a seat. So that's awesome. The Alcantara is awesome. Carpets are in great condition. The leather on the shift boot is a bit distressed. This seems to be one of the very few pieces that has been left from the original, original build out of this car. It's got an aftermarket Mazda speed shifter that's attached to this smooth shifting 5-speed manual. Center section is great. All the buttons, all the switches, all the vents, everything has been replaced and everything works. Fog lights, power windows, power mirrors, everything works. It's got Bluetooth. This thing is amazing. The owner of this vehicle did such a spectacular job in maintaining and keeping it tastefully modern enough to drive it all the time, which I don't think you should do because this is a time capsule on its own. Coming over to the passenger side, there's nothing to report over here. Everything is just as prim and proper as the side we previously saw. All the body lines, panels, and gaps lined up evenly and wonderfully throughout. The brilliant black paint shows just as nice on this side as it does on the other side. All the moldings, glass, everything shows wonderfully. As I previously mentioned, it does have the R1 kit, so it does have the aftermarket front valance, side skirts, and rear wing. Almost got me there for a second. And those are all also in immaculate condition as well. Like I said, this is like my favorite era of cars. You could totally tell me this was a car of the last 10 years and I would absolutely believe you, but I am biased because like I said, this is my favorite era of cars. The Supra, the 3000 GT, you had all the other Nissans, the 240, every iteration of all those cars that came out between 1986 and like 1996, and they had the gentleman's rule of the power. They all said they can only make 280, but in reality they made somewhere north of that. And with that being said, this car actually has 13B rotary, which is Mazda's signature rotary engine. And I have a lot of information about that, so let's get under the hood and I'll tell you all about it. Looking under the hood, you're immediately greeted with Mazda's turbocharged 13B REW engine. That is 2 rotors, 2 Doritos. And for those of you asking, hey Emil, what the hell is a rotary engine? Let's have a little history lesson. Cars with a meal. All right, so this is a rotor. It's the centerpiece of the Wenkel rotary engine, which Felix Wenkel invented in the 50s. This is what it looks like when it's all put together. Normally, there's two of them, so we're gonna use that as the example. Here's a better view so you can see what's going on. First, you get intake on this side where air comes in, then the Dorito spins, you get compression over here, more spinny Doritos, then these two bad boys give it spark, which is ignition, and then they spin some more, and a big old party happens on this side. It came in cars like the SA, FB, RX7 of the early 80s, the FC RX7 of the mid 80s to late 80s, and then the one we're talking about now, the FD RX7 of the mid to late 90s.
I got family.
Mazda also produced 3 and 4 rotor versions of it. In the 20B that came in the Unos Cosmo, the twin turbo variant, or the 26B that came in the 787B race car that was banned from competition in 1991 for apparently being too fast, or as I'd like to call it, being too awesome. Now that we know what the rotary engine is, let's talk about what this specific rotary engine is. It's got a Greddy turbo intake elbow, front mount intercooler, Walbro 255 liter per hour fuel pump. It's got 1000cc injectors. It's got an HKS downpipe, ACT Streetlight clutch, ACT Streetlight flywheel. And then all the stock components are in great condition as well. The ABS unit, all the fuel lines. Everything under here looks great. The fuse boxes, everything is kosher and is in its proper location, assuming it can work with the aftermarket parts that are on the car. It's such a cool car. And then it's got the Affini SP high flow turbos, which are from the 2000 variant of the car, which made a substantial amount more power and can take a little more boost. So per the dyno numbers that are in the link below, this car made 320 horsepower with about 280 torque, which is right on par to what you should be making in about the factory form that this thing can take. You know, that's about where you want to keep it before things start getting haywire and you want to start going with changing compression ratios and all that nonsense. We don't want to get into that. You want to be able to drive it every day. You need it to be something that's a little bit more factory plus. And I love it. I love the job they did with this, and I can't wait to see what we're going to do with the driving part and the beautiful shots we're going to get outside. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so that's it for the walk around. But before we get to the driving, I know that's the part you guys really want to get to, and trust me, it's worth it, because I mic'd this car up so good. I need you guys to check out our brand new Heat Seeker shirt. Dope shirt, right? That's why you should click up here and buy one. Now, what you guys been waiting for, the driving part. Let's get to it. All right, take 2. So, of course, normally I would not be the one driving the car. I'd be the one that is in the camera car right now. But today, I get the lovely fortune of driving this car. And we're gonna take it out in 84. I'm gonna put it through a little bit of its motions, kind of introduce you more to the things that it has while we're outside and showing how they work out in the real world. Like I'm pushing it through this corner and those Apexi N1 coilovers and dampeners do an amazing job of keeping the car planted. And I love this thing. The interior is super early 90s, as I said before. Everything is wrapped around you. And then, like, let's talk about the interior creature comforts. AC works. It's got a Sony stereo touchscreen with Rockford Fosgate speakers in the doors and in the tweeters. It's got a brand new instrument cluster, which looks phenomenal. It's got a steering wheel out of a 2000 Mazda RX7, the Spirit R, which is the highly coveted one. Everything in here has been retouched. All the buttons have been replaced. It actually wears the R2 fog lights with a retrofitted button into the center console, which is a really cool feature. I think it's freaking awesome. The people behind us are getting a little restless, but I mean, what are we gonna do, dude? It's freaking traffic. But I mean, again, it just feels so well put together. There's no stutters or hiccups in the power band. It drives straight, brakes straight, tracks straight. And again, I keep saying how much I love these early 90s Mazdas and Nissans, because they were just like my favorite cars in the entire world. They did everything. They met all the wants that any driver really wants in a car. They had 50-50 weight distribution. They made great power. They sounded wonderful. They were driver-centric in the cockpit, which made them even more of a blast to drive. And we're out here in 84, and the car is proving everything I'm saying. It just drives so straight, pin straight. It brakes straight, it accelerates wonderfully. So we're going west on 84, we're about to go over the smaller Marina Mile Bridge, the New River Bridge, and you're gonna see how the car behaves over some of these bumps. You know, what the transition from road to bridge, you see some of them here. Everything in here works wonderfully. Headlights work with the lights on, the button for the headlights work. And of course, everything in here is just as nice as it is on the outside. The radio works, like I said, Sony head unit with Rockford Fosgate components in the doors and tweeters. We're gonna make a U-turn up here. We're gonna give you a nice little acceleration run so you guys can really hear it rung out. You know, I got some mics on the back, and we're just gonna, again, enjoy. I can't get over how much I love these early 90s cars. And before we go out here and make a U-turn, of course, if this is something you wanna put in your garage, click the link below for a full gallery, including underside shots and shipping options. And of course, like and subscribe so we can put this face on the screen. You know, I think you can see the visual excitement on me because like this is one of the icon cars from when I was a kid. And like to get to drive one around, you know, it's the best to me. You know, I came up driving exotics and stuff. So like the Huracans and the 488s, none of those do anything for me. But this really puts a smile on my face every single time. We're gonna go out here, gonna get you a nice little acceleration run. We're gonna make a right down here. We're gonna go over the usual bumps so you guys can see how the car responds over the bumps from the inside and the outside. And of course, you get a big dip, get a couple more nice beauty shots and a nice send away shots where you can hear this thing sing. And make a decision if this is something you want to put in your garage. We're gonna go over the bumps here. This is the first set of bumps. No issues. Big bump right here. No issue. We're gonna scoot over to give you guys the good old send off. And like I said, it's a rebuilt 13B, and you're gonna hear it all right now. My name's Emil, and I'll see you guys later.